I'm going to talk about evil a little bit, and I'm going to talk about heroism a lot, and I'm going to talk about how, at the end of this day, I'd like each of you to make a commitment to be an everyday hero. I grew up in poverty. I grew up in the South Bronx ghetto. I know you got a ghetto in the South Side, and apparently somebody said it's grittier in the West Side. Let's hear from South Siders and West Siders out there. All right. But if you grow up in the inner city, there's temptation around you of all kinds to do anything for money. And I had lots of friends who were really good kids who did really bad things. The other thing about inner city, it's ugly. There are no trees, there's no flowers. And the problem is the ugliness in the environment, you have to prevent from coming into your spirit. Because you don't want that ugliness, because the ugliness breeds hate and hopelessness. And really what you want to live a life is full of love and hope. So what happened is, in that ghetto, there are agents of the devil, always there to seduce good kids to do bad things. And some of you know that I studied in my research, and I wrote a book called Lucifer Effect, how easy it is for good people, even good, intelligent college students, to be seduced to do bad things in certain situations. But that's the old me. The new me used education as the key to unlocking a new world beyond the limits and temptations of the ghetto. And so now I'm a famous professor from a famous university, Stanford University, that Sandra Day O'Connor graduated from. And I did a famous experiment at Stanford Prison Study. And it's all because of education. No one in my family had even gone to high school. My family was Sicilian. My grandfather was a shoemaker. My other grandfather was a barber. And I'm here only because the only difference between them and me is I got educated. She was inspired by one professor. I was inspired by my elementary school teachers, my junior high school teachers, to make my life filled with trying to understand how the world works, especially how the human mind works. So the new me is I'm the manager of a San Francisco Hero Factory. We are creating a new generation of everyday heroes, and hopefully we want to bring our factory to Chicago and have you be there. But it's not about me, it's now you. You face new challenges every day. Gossip. We're not gossiping, we're just networking. Bullying. The world is made up of three people: bullies, the kid bullied, and the rest of us who look at it and don't intervene. And so one of the things that heroes do is they challenge bullies in a wise way that we'll talk about in a minute. Peer pressure. How much of what you are is from you, or is it from your buddies? Pressure to smoke, pressure to drink, pressure to take risks, pressure to join gangs, pressure to have unsafe sex. It's all around you. And how do you resist? And it's really hard because when you're a teenager, what you want more than anything else is to be liked, to be accepted, to be respected. And you end up going along just to get along, even though in your mind you know this is not the wrong thing. And you make decisions. Decisions: should I save money? Should I spend it? Should I eat healthy food or junk food? Should I bother applying to college? Should I have sex? Should I have safe sex? These are decisions you make all the time. But the more important thing is, should you get involved, or should you mind your own business? Should you take your friend's keys so he doesn't drive drunk and crash? Should you ruin somebody's reputation by spreading gossip, or you stand up for them? You want to do the right thing, but how? It's not easy. It turns out that you can begin with very small steps. And I call this being on the path to heroism, be a hero in training. Somebody from my group interviewed President Obama before he was the president. We asked him, what does it take to be a hero? Do you have to be a special kind of person? And this is what he says, and it's really brilliantly voiced.
You know, what's remarkable about history is ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Last year Rosa Parks passed away. And I remember sitting on this stage with world leaders, and Bill Clinton, and senators and governors, and thinking we were all paying homage to a seamstress who had transformed the country and helped transform the world. We never know sort of how our actions are going to ripple over time. But each of us can take some responsibility for making sure that we are pushing a little bit in the direction of justice and in the direction of equality and the direction of tolerance. And when we do that, we may surprise ourselves with the amount of influence that in fact we have just by standing up or speaking up.
So what he's telling us is heroes are ordinary people. It's the heroic act that's extraordinary, that anybody can do it. And what it means is simply at some point, when you see injustice, when you see bullying, when you see corruption, fraud, you stand up and you speak out and you say, that's wrong. You get involved. And he has this wonderful statement is, what you do has a ripple effect. People observe you doing the good thing, and you become a positive social model. People observe you do bad stuff, and you become a negative social model, and they will follow you. So the question you have to ask yourself, what is your ripple effect going to be in your life? So everyday heroism, the power of one, that's been a theme of this TED conference. Be there first. If you don't act, who will? We know from something called the bystander effect, the more people are around when there's an emergency, the less anybody helps. But as soon as the first person goes to the person and say, are you okay, can I help? Immediately, everybody joins in. So again, you should be the one. You should be the first one that calls 911. You should be the first one to get involved. The power of two is be an ally to other people, to the shy kid, to gay kids, kids who are different from you. If you come from a white background, for the minority kid, be an ally. And that's the power of two. Be a positive deviant. Dare to be different each day. What makes it hard to be a hero, you know what? It's when you're in a situation, people say, mind your own business, don't get involved. And they pull you back. You say, no, I gotta help this person. So we have an exercise I do at Stanford. I tell my students, think about a little thing you can do, like putting a black dot on your forehead if you got light skin, a white dot if you got dark skin. And people get crazed. They say, take it off. You say, no, I just think it's not, don't mind it. And the whole day, people put pressure on you to be what they want you to be. If you can resist for one day, not taking that black spot off, then you know you have the power to resist negative group pressure. Make somebody feel special. Give a compliment each day to somebody, to 5 days, 5 people. The teacher who inspired you. The teacher who brought you here. Your mother, great food. The bus driver. Now, why is that heroic? It means you're focusing on the other. So when you come into this place, instead of worrying, what will people think about me, your job is, who can I give a compliment to? Who can I say, hey, you really look good. That was really smart. That's a great question. What great earrings. Your hair looks really wonderful. The fact, it's a small thing, but it makes somebody smile, and it's always a feedback, because they're going to say, hey, I'd like to be around you. The other thing is, my whole life has been an experimental psychologist. I want you to think about your life as an experiment. What an experiment is, you change one feature and you see what is the effect. So I want you to think about, who are you now? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to become in 10 years? Your whole life is moving from thinking about the moment to anticipating what you want to be. But the problem is, you also have to say, what will help you get there? How do you get from here to there? On the other hand, what's going to block it? You have to be aware, what are the negative forces that are not going to allow you to get to your goal? And how are we going to overcome them? And where are you going to need help to release those blocks? And which of yourselves is going to show up tomorrow? I argue that we all have the potential for good and evil because we have this incredible brain that gives us infinite possibilities. Anything that you can imagine is doable, and whether or not you do the good thing or the bad thing really is largely a function of the environment you're in, the surround that you're in. So heroes put their best selves forward in service to humanity. And I hope that could be you. So in life, there's a lot of decisions you make every moment. Some of them are easy and some of them are hard. So it's easy to litter. It's hard to clean up somebody else's litter. It's easy to be a bully. It really is easy. All you got to do is be big and strong and tough and not care about other people. It's really hard to challenge bullies. It's easy to say, I hate you. It's hard to say, I forgive you. Or it's hard to say, I love you. It's easy to party down. It's hard to study up. It's easy to react to situations. It's hard to stop, press the pause button, and reflect and say, what should I do, rather than you're always in fast forward. The problem with many of us, we live for the moment rather than we plan for the future. We call it being present hedonistic versus future-oriented. You cannot succeed in life unless you develop a healthy sense of the future. Meaning every time you make a decision, you have to say, what are the costs and what are the gains? It's called contingency planning. And if the costs outweigh the gains, you don't do it. If the gains outweigh the costs, you do it. If you're present-oriented, if you're present hedonistic, the only thing that determines your decision is not the future. It's what other people are saying, what you're feeling, what the thing is like. Does it taste good, smell good, feel good? And you make that decision. And that's the path to all addictions. And lastly is, the easy decision is accepting life's shit. The hard decision is deciding to change your world. Now, kids can be heroes too. You saw Daniel Hernandez. You're going to meet 3 incredible people. I know, hopefully all here from the Interrupters. People I gave a hero award to on Wednesday from your neighborhood, from your background. But here's 2 hero kids before we took. This is a 9-year-old Chinese kid. He was in an earthquake in Sichuan province in China where the ceiling fell down on his school and all the kids were killed except him. He ran out, and as he's running away, he looks back and his 2 kids crawling to get out. You know what he does? He runs back to save them. People say, why did you risk your life? He said, why? I was the hall monitor. It was my job to look after my classmates. Yes. So that's what I call putting the heroic imagination, the mindset you have that I'm a hero in training, I'm a hero in waiting, and when the opportunity comes, you move to action. You heard President Obama talk about Rosa Parks, the hero of civil rights. Her action changed desegregation in the South. It turns out that this young girl, 15-year-old Claudette Colvin, 9 months before did the same thing. She refused to yield her seat to a white woman. She was put in jail, and she said, it's my constitutional right. But because she was young, they didn't honor her as a hero, which they should have done. I want to mention one last thing. In our program, we train kids through videotapes that are available online to understand the power of the dark side. And again, it's this bystander effect. He's riding on a bus, Philip Johnson, again, a kid from a ghetto school in Oakland, California, and a kid has an asthmatic attack. Hard to breathe. People are saying, throw him off the bus, he's irritating us. Instead, Philip goes to the kid and said, what's wrong? He said, I don't have my inhaler. So he tells the bus driver, pull over when you see a pharmacy. He takes the kid off, they get an inhaler, he takes the kid home, and the kid survives. He saves a life. And he said, I was just enacting the bystander lesson I learned in your program. And so this is the first demonstration we have that it works. So the world needs more heroes, and it needs you. And you know that Yoda says, do or do not, there is no try. So there'll come a time in your life when opportunity calls, and hopefully you'll take the heroic action. Visit us on heroicimagination.org. And if there are any rich people in the audience, help me build hero factories everywhere, especially in Chicago. Sponsor HIP, fund HIP, but join us at heroicimagination.org. And later, if you want a hug and a signed picture, I'll be in the lobby. Love you.